Hi, everybody. This is Dan Hopkins. I'm the VP of Applied AI and Public Sector here at Eightfold. And I'd like to welcome to Cultivate Mike Barnes, who's the Chief Workforce Officer at the Indiana Department of Workforce Development, and also our first public sector customer implementing our state workforce exchange product. Mike, welcome to Cultivate.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Mike, over the last few months, we've seen an employment environment that has been like anything we've ever seen before. Talk to me about Indiana. What's the employment situation right now, and how are the organizations like the DWD facing these issues?
Yeah, so I think we're a lot like much of the nation in that we have a shortage of people applying for jobs and getting back into the workforce. And we know that there are a number of reasons why that may be, but currently we have jobs from entry level to executive level that are going unfilled every day. We have about 120,000 open positions on our job bank, and so we know that the HR folks out there are seeing red when it comes to when they talk to their operations folks about they got to have people now. Indiana is a very heavy manufacturing state, and they are desperate to put people into manufacturing positions to keep lines running, keep the supply chain operating, and fulfill those orders.
One of the other questions that I really wanted to talk to you about today is obviously the impact of COVID-19 has been substantial, both in terms of its impact initially to unemployment and now sort of the bounce back that we're seeing and currently experiencing. How has this affected the work of the Indiana Department of Workforce Development?
Yeah, so it's affected us in a number of different ways. There's been the challenges and then the opportunities. And so obviously the challenges, our main mission is to connect people to jobs and to training that lead to jobs. And traditionally, the workforce system has been a brick and mortar type operation where people come into our offices and we sit down face to face to do case management. And obviously during the pandemic, that was nearly impossible. And so we had to shut our offices down. And what it did is, obviously create new opportunities here of different ways to engage with our citizens in a digital way. And whether that's utilizing Zoom for those case management sessions, doing group activities through virtual platforms, and then certainly, obviously, in job matching, making better options available to folks. The other opportunities that it presented is that, we had an influx of state and federal dollars due to the stimulus in order to help train additional people in those high wage, high demand job opportunities. And the good thing, the thing that gives me hope on that, 120,000 number is that last year we saw an unprecedented number of people that were willing to go back to, to the well, so to speak, to get training into new career fields, new skills, new credentials and certificates. And so we at DWD alone, and this doesn't not the number from our higher ed institutions as well, but we put about 18,000 people into training last year, and they're coming out right now ready to fill those jobs.
Wow. I mean, when I hear you speak about sort of your response, it really sort of reinforces the notion that Indiana has always been known to apply innovative solutions to solving complex problems, especially here with employment-related issues. In your words, can you describe your initial vision for the Hoosier Talent Network?
Well, so, the biggest opportunity we saw initially was utilizing AI to transfer skills across industries. And so, obviously in the very early stages, the hospitality industry was just decimated. by everything shutting down, and not knowing how long those disruptions were going to last. We knew that we would see mass migrations of people from one industry to another. And so what we saw in the Eightfold platform and Hoosier Talent Network was the ability for people to go in and give us their background, update their resume or what have you, and that it pulls out identifiable skills that are transferable to other industries. And really then working to leverage that information to then work with those folks to get them into those industries that are probably have been less affected by the pandemic.
Now, Mike, artificial intelligence, as you know, can be a misunderstood term with often wildly different visions of what exactly it means. How do you explain AI and the utilization of AI and the value of what AI is creating within your platform?
Yeah, so we look at it as, kind of an equalizer of sorts, where whether it's, trying to remove bias out of hiring decisions, or whether it is, identifying those skills that people really have that are transferable. The AI nature of it really takes the kind of that some of the human out of it in the bias towards, well, this person only worked in hospitality. Well, that person, developed customer service skills, time management skills, all these other things that transfer into perhaps a healthcare occupation or a manufacturing role. And that has really helped us move that conversation forward with the state's employers. And we're really excited about, what comes next here.
Mike, as you know, Eightfold has been working together with the state of Indiana now for well over 6 months as we actualize our vision for solving for employment and reemployment within the state of Indiana. I'm curious, what else do you like about Eightfold, either the product or the team?
Well, both, and so I'll start with the team, and I think that really helps seal the deal for us. So we've been in the contract now for 6 months, but we really started talking over a year ago, and the Eightfold team was just tremendous at every step of the way of listening to what we as a customer and the state were looking for in a product and what it could help develop for our citizens. And there was never really any obstacle to, we put up these roadblocks, and Eightfold came through and said, well, we can deliver on that. And so it's been a tremendous experience there. And then as far as the product goes, there are a number of great opportunities here that we're really just starting to scratch the surface on. It's just been out for 6 months. We're getting ready to launch the employer side of things, and really look forward to getting the employer reaction to this new tool. The other thing that kind of haven't touched on yet is then the connection to available training within the state. And so that's kind of a step forward that we've never had before. And so that is probably one of the greatest assets that I see of the system.
And we're super excited about the ongoing relationship and technologies that we can bring to bear to solve these challenges. And I know that we both agree that solving for reemployment is a critical social need, and one that obviously Eightfold is dedicated in solving. As a result, you might expect us to look to replicate our success within other states. What do you think is the best way to go about achieving this goal? And how do you think these capabilities apply to other public sector organizations?
Yeah, so I think that there's a couple of things there to unpack. One is what other states, could see as far as value. Again, I'll go back to having that kind of agnostic look at a person's skill sets and how that would transfer to a new industry are, really important aspects there. We consistently get feedback from employers and others about kind of outdated ATS systems and others that pigeonhole people based on their past industry experience, is probably one of the biggest things. And this really helps to unlock a new labor market for us. Now, how I see it, kind of advancing with other, type of state agencies is how do we connect this with our social services folks, folks that are dealing with, childcare and all those other things that tend to be roadblocks to having people re-enter the workforce. And I see that this can be kind of a hub to help us solve those issues as well.
Well, obviously, we're excited about solving for our mission, which is delivering the right career for everyone in the world. And Indiana is really sort of one of the first steps to help the public sector realize these goals as well. As you've been live with Eightfold now for a few months, and you start to see what success looks like, how do you think this actually helps accelerate your own goals for Indiana? And how does this help you attract more employers and more jobs? And finally, what does this mean for your citizens?
So for our citizens, I believe that what this means is greater accessibility to jobs throughout the state and greater transferability of their skills again, and giving them options that they never saw for themselves. One of the biggest things that we always that we see with clients when we're working with them on one-on-one is what they say, well, I just was a machine operator, or I was just this. Well, when then you sit down and you tell them, here are all the skills that you learned or you exhibited in these jobs. And people just don't talk about themselves in terms of their skills. And so this really helps as a translator for that. And as far as the state goals, one of our primary goals this year is our labor participation rate. Well, Indiana has a better labor participation rate than the nation overall. That is the biggest threat to our communities and our nation as a whole. If we don't fill these jobs, they will go somewhere else. And we need the better mousetrap and the better tool to get people into those jobs. And we believe that Eightfold and the Hoosier Talent Network is that better mousetrap. As far as an economic development tool, we haven't been able to necessarily exploit this yet, but being able to really look at those companies that are looking to relocate in Indiana, and the types of jobs that they're looking to bring, and being able to say, yes, we have these skills based on the analysis of the folks that are in the Hoosier Talent Network. And if we don't have those exact skills, here's what the profile looks like in that community, and here's the steps that we could take to make sure that they're job ready when you're here.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I know that you are excited about working with an AI platform beyond the outcomes that it's creating for the state of Indiana. Tell us what's in it for you personally.
I go back to my personal why of why I'm in this role. I've been with the state for had my 13th anniversary. I don't know if that's lucky 13 or not, but I never, early in my career, I never dreamed that I would be in any government type role. It always had been private industry, but I really feel a connection to the work that we do is uplifting individual Hoosiers and putting them on a pathway to sustainable jobs that they can support their families and build their communities. And at the same time of lifting individuals up, raising the overall state's economy. And so any tools or opportunities that we have that can help us on that path and support those goals, those are very personally rewarding for me. And I also, contrary to what many believe across the country, Indiana isn't always backwards and doesn't embrace technology. And so, I think that this is a real example of, how we are, looking towards the future and not afraid to use new tools to get us to where we want to be.
So Mike, obviously the introduction of the Hoosier Talent Network gives you a tremendous amount of new capabilities, one of which is new opportunities to engage the employment community within Indiana. Can you talk a little bit about some of the visions that you have and the opportunities now that you have to engage your state employers within the Hoosier Talent Network?
Yeah, so the state currently has about 300,000 employers from all sizes and types. And typically on a given year, the state workforce agency, we interact with about 12,000 employers. And so this really is going to give us a new opportunity to get the word out to employers, not only about the great abilities that the Hoosier Talent Network is going to give them in attracting and training and retaining talent, but also then the other kind of more boots on the ground services that state workforce agencies can offer to their employers in their state.
Mike, what do you think the impact is for that one individual that's looking for a job or looking to upskill or reskill into a role, and that how AI can play a role to increase the time for them to find that role? What's the impact for them, their family, and the community and the state of Indiana?
It's huge. I mean, and it is difficult to get down or to lose sight of that. One person becoming employed at a sustainable wage makes such a big ripple impact throughout the economy. But for that family, when you've got a family that has, is working and has sustainable wages and a career that they enjoy, the benefits go to their children and to their community as a whole. Obviously it lowers poverty rates, it raises education levels, it raises equity and diversity within our communities. And I see AI as being kind of that equalizer in helping people achieve those opportunities that they didn't really see that were possible for themselves.
So Mike, obviously Eightfold brings a lot of new capabilities and functionality to the state of Indiana beyond creating very powerful employment outcomes for your job seekers. However, as noted, Eightfold brings a lot of new capabilities to your employer community. Can you talk to us what excites you most about now being able to bring employers closer to solving the employment partnership together with the state of Indiana?
Yeah, so we see it a couple of different ways. Obviously, I am really excited to launch the employer piece of the Eightfold product because we believe that there's a huge value and upstream for our employers to be able to access talent that they aren't seeing currently through their normal ATS, and as well as to help solve some of the diversity and equity issues that we see. The other thing is that we see employers, constantly reaching out and asking for help in where do they find training providers and others to get their incumbent workers and their new hires trained in certain skills. And so having that connection to our statewide database of training providers that have already been cleared by the Department of Workforce Development, we've heard employers say that they're really excited about that opportunity as well.
So Mike, as we both know, finding a job without AI can be very time consuming it can be frustrating, it can be demoralizing because there's so many jobs out there and really no great insights into which is the right job for you. So leveraging Eightfold's AI, can you share any personal stories that you've heard about how Eightfold's AI improves the overall job search or ability to optimize career planning?
Yeah, actually just had a testimonial come across just this week, and the client's name is Linda. She lives in Southern Indiana. She's 51 years old and never completed her high school diploma, and and she was working in a series of dead end jobs and in some low wage, low skill environments, currently working as a convenience store cashier. And she saw the news release about the Hoosier Talent Network, back in January. She logged on to see if there was something there for her. And so she was able to see kind of what her skill profile looked like to that, may transfer to other jobs. But she also had this idea that she wanted to change her direction and work in a healthcare occupation. And so when she clicked on the, connect to training, it put her in touch with her local adult education provider. And they work simultaneously on her high school diploma or high school equivalency and getting her a certified nursing aide certificate at the same time. She's completed both of those already, and she now has her eyes on becoming an LPN. And she has a new job and a new outlook on life. And the kind of the quote that was in her email that she sent to us was, she never realized that this potential was within her and that she was as smart as she apparently is. And so I think that that's a tremendous kind of testimonial to how technology can help with that restoring hope and restoring an outlook in life of lost potential.
Well, Mike Barnes, this has been really a pleasure and an honor to speak with you today. Just so much great things going on at the state of Indiana. Really enjoyed hearing your stories and sincerely appreciate your partnership as we collectively solve for employment, not just for the world, but specifically for this country and Indiana. So thank you so much for your time.